All right, everybody, we are back, and this is the Transition Podcast, Man to God, and I'm your host, Rashad McCants, and today, like other days, is a special day. Today, we have a very special guest, someone that I consider my spirit guide, someone that I consider one of the goddesses of the universe, and someone that I could consider the most humble and gracious person that I've met thus far on my journey. I would like to introduce everyone to Miss Audrey Rubio. Miss Audrey, please let the audience know who you are, where you're from, and a little bit of background about what you do.
Well, hello. Thank you so much. I didn't know you thought that highly of me, and I so much appreciate it because it just warms my heart. I always try to, you know, just it's this thing that I have where I just see people and I just feel them. You know, they're like you're a really big guy. You're very intimidating. And when I met you, it's like I saw you coming towards me, and I was like, oh, he needs to hear something. Like I could feel the pain inside. Like there was something that needed to be said.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was just very grateful that I had that opportunity to do that. um, the thing that I do is I'm a certified laughter yoga teacher. I was trained by the values of Dr. Kataria, amazing doctor that knows all about healing the soul with laughter. And I'm also a certified crystal healer. That was something that was gifted to me. I've always been into rocks and digging and dirt, and just I've always been into that since I was a little girl. And then just crystals just came to me. They came because the crystals come to you when you most need them, and
Right.
there was a part of my life that was like I just needed them. Like they just came to me when I most need them.
Right.
And it's something that I want to share with the world, on how powerful we truly are. And when I say that I'm an energy healer, I don't mean I'm going to heal you, like
Right.
pay me and I'm going to
Right.
heal you. The only one that can heal itself is yourself. You can only heal you. I can't heal you. But what I do is I talk to you and I say certain words that activate certain things in your body that will cause you to realign your purpose.
Mm-hmm. I love
So that's a little bit of what I do. And I'm also, I'm a mom for four beautiful kids. That's another part of my journey and my mission here on Earth. It's something that I didn't know, and I'm very stubborn. I'm very stubborn. So when stuff happens to you in your life, you're like, oh my gosh, why is this happening to me?
Right.
Like I had this vision, and but stuff doesn't turn out the way you always want it to.
Right.
I got pregnant at 19. I had my first when I was 20, and my life completely changed.
Yeah.
And I was a very selfish kid. I was a very selfish teenager, and I did not want to be a mom.
Mm.
And I allowed other people to parent my kids and grow them up. And now I'm at this point where I'm I've woken up and I've realized all of this backlash that I left
Mm-hmm.
behind,
Mm-hmm.
because it caused a ripple effect. And it was the choices that I made. So that was part of my healing journey and how I want to help you heal, because my mission is single moms to have that opportunity to go with their kids and kind of just learn to love their experience and love their now moments.
Yeah.
Even, if you're in, like, I was at a point where I was literally in a place where it was horrible every day. Waking up was there horrible. But I started to vision myself somewhere else, even though I was in that hole.
Mm, yeah.
And, and that is what got me out of my hole. And that is, it's just something that you have to do. It's an inside job, and that's how I heal you. I teach you how to do that.
Let me ask you this. For all those people listening, they hear yoga instructor, but then they hear laughter. You're a laughter yoga instructor. Could you explain to the audience the difference between regular yoga and then laughter yoga? What's the difference between the two?
Okay,
And
well,
how did you get into laughter yoga specifically?
yeah, yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so the difference between yoga and laughter yoga is yoga, you're working your whole entire body. Well, you also are in laughter yoga, but you're doing more intricate moves. It could be a little bit more intimidating because if you don't know, you see all these like crazy poses and you're like, oh, I can't do that.
Right.
But who doesn't know how to laugh? I mean, I know how to laugh, right?
Absolutely.
So it's easy. Anyone can do yoga, laughter yoga. You are basically working with your solar plexus chakra. We're working with all of your chakras when you're doing laughter yoga. But the basic one, like the most important one, is this, because you use your diaphragm to laugh. And you start to pump out because we have stuck energy inside that is our center, that is our powerhouse, that is our courage, that is our creativity, that is where our inner child lies.
Mm.
And laughter yoga teaches you that. Yoga teaches you to be mindful, to be in the moment, to train your mind. Laughter yoga clears your chakras and just attunes them so that you are better by vibrating. Also, you're attracting positive vibrations into your atmosphere for no given reason. And if we're to do this every single day, we're retraining our brain to think differently. That, yeah, even though our day was shitty, I can still go home and laugh for 30 minutes and, with zero fucks given, and just laugh.
Yeah.
Just laugh for no reason. That's the main point. You're not to put any funny shows on or anything. Like, you're just laughing for no reason. And that is to retrain your brain. And
Mm.
that is activating new pathways in your brain, so that in your right side of your brain, because we don't use our right side that much, we're always using our left side. So laughter yoga teaches you to use your right side because there's no talking, you're just using your imagination. You're like, the milkshake laughter, you're like pretending you're making milkshake, like uh uh
See that?
you just drink the milkshake, you just pretend you're just pretending,
I
and that's
love it. I love it because just watching you pretend to make a milkshake is kind of funny. You
yeah.
know, it's kind of funny when you're like, all right, what we're going to do today is we're going to pretend to make milkshakes, but try not to spill the milkshake outside the glass. Just watching someone try to do that is just like, he's going to spill it. I can understand the dynamic of the imagination. So that's really what you're shaping is the imagination to make yourself laugh and to enjoy the experience. But how did you get into that? Like, tell the story of how you got into that.
Well, it was an attraction, vibrations. See, I was at that moment, I was in that hole, and I was visioning myself out of that hole. I was visioning myself at the beach. I was visioning myself, with a loving partner. I was visioning myself at a beautiful park. I was visioning myself, all these places, even though I was in a hole. And that, when I went outside, started to attract people towards me that were, of that same vibration that I was looking for. It automatically, because you attract those vibes. So, like, some people think, why am I with this person? Well, it's because you attracted that, because
Yep.
you're in that vibe.
Yep.
So I had to get myself out of there. So I met this beautiful girl, and she really, saw me in a new light that I had never seen myself. And she started to believe, like, she just started to, fill my cup and just of goodness. And one day she was at her job, and this lady just so happened to walk in and was like, hey, I'm looking for, do you happen to know anyone that speaks Spanish that would be interested in doing YouTube videos with me? And she was like, well, actually, my girlfriend just started doing that. She's so amazing. She's bilingual, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, my first interview, I thought it was just going to be like regular YouTube. I don't know. I don't know what I thought. I never thought laughter yoga. Like, but she was like, well, I'm a laughter yoga instructor, and would you be interested in, you have to get certified, and and this and that. And I was like, you know what? Let's go for it. I want to do YouTube videos. This is what I want to do. Like that was the thing that I was, my mind where it was at, but I just surrendered instead of saying, okay, it's not what I was looking for and just took off. I was like, okay, this is new, but I'm gonna just go for it. Like my spirit just like, just go for it. So I did. And in the middle of the park where we met, there's like all these people passing by, and she's like, okay, here's your first class. We're just gonna do this and just pretend that you're laughing, and just don't stop laughing, and just, that's it. And that was like my interview, I guess. So I was like, this is really weird. Okay, people are staring at me like whatever. So I just was like, pretend like you're driving and start laughing. I was like, ah, ah. I was like, whatever. And I started laughing. And, something happened in between that laughter where I just didn't care what people
Right.
were like. I didn't care. It just felt good to laugh because I hadn't laughed in, I don't know, in so long. I've been crying in my bathroom
Mm.
from being in that hole.
Is the
And
process from letting go like during that process of laughter when during that exercise, is it a fake laugh at first and then you kind of break down that barrier because you're trying to get into the
yeah.
imagination of it all, so it's like, oh, I got a fake but
Look
then
at
after, if you
this.
let it go, you
Mhm.
will feel that humor, you'll feel the energy, and then you'll actually become it, and you'll be able to laugh and enjoy that space that you've been brought into. I love the fact that, people are afraid of laughter. And if you really start to witness a lot of things going on in society right now, the last thing we're doing is laughing. We've made the comedians so afraid of, giving us jokes and so on and so forth. The only thing now is to resort back to the inner, where we can make ourselves laugh. And I think that this laughter yoga is one of the first steps that we can do to kind of ease the anxiety of the social norms that have been prepared for us now. We're so sensitive in all the different words, and we're being triggered so easily that
Mhm.
laughter yoga seems to be a solution to the seriousness that's happening on in the world right now. Talk about how important that is to break down the sensitivity
Oh my
of
God.
everybody right now.
Wow, wow, wow. Oh my gosh. Just yesterday, because I do like daily classes with Dr. Katari, you can go on Facebook and he has like, he like goes online and laughs with you every single day. But so if you want to do it, you can do it. But he was talking about addiction and how right now with pandemic, there's all these addictions that have like, they're starting to, high rock or whatever. And laughter yoga is a way to decrease that. Just because why do you look for, I don't know, and it's not just getting high or whatever. It's like there's so many different types of addiction, like social media,
Yeah, yeah,
you
absolutely.
know,
Video
smoking,
games.
video games, like all kinds of different things that you can. Why do we do that? It's because we're looking for that dopamine fix. We're looking for
Yes.
that. We're looking for that. And our mind is just so easily distracted. When we do this with laughter, we're releasing dopamine. We're intentionally daily releasing our dopamine fix.
Yes.
So how is that not important? When I literally get up and I tell people, when I go on, I do it on Instagram, and I just tell people, like, seriously, guys, just laugh in front of the mirror when you're brushing your teeth. Like, just make silly faces, like, just like play with yourself, and just doing that for like 5 minutes. I kid you not, it just makes a difference. It's just
If
good for
if you
everything.
if you really think about it, everyone's so serious to the point that laughter kind of hurts. If you think about it, everyone's trying to find a happy place. Everyone's trying to find a happy place, but there's that stubbornness that you spoke about earlier that forces people to look at other people who are having fun. Like, people will get mad at you for laughing because it's like they're like, "What's so funny? What's so funny? Why are you so happy?
Yeah.
What's so happy about life right now?" So at this point, I think that we need to identify that during people's traumas, during people's challenges, and different things that people go through, there's still a bright spot, and that bright spot is the laughter. is the release of the seriousness and being silly. You know, talk about that child spirit
And if we go
mentality.
back, if we go back to like just energy, just speaking of energy, like because just as fear is an energy, just as anger is an energy, just as sadness is an energy, joy is also an energy, you know. And so when we laugh and when we cry, our body is just it's a form of release of that energy that is no longer needed. So there's no reason why, like, who says you can't laugh instead of crying just to get
Right.
it out of you? Because
Mm-hmm.
when you laugh, it's a higher vibration than crying. It takes you more effort to get up back up there when you're crying. Although I'm not saying not to ever cry. I cry all the time. I'm a crybaby. I cry for everything, like, but you don't always have to cry when you're healing.
Right.
Yesterday I was it was a very yesterday was 9/9, and I do a lot about numerologists in this, but I believe that 9/9, it's like the cusp of the next the next part of your this year. It's
Right.
that's like the middle. That for me, that's the middle. And so that's my day to sit down and review and release what I don't need and just review how far I've been. Okay, hi Dean. Sorry.
Hey, the cats.
But and at the end, what I do this type of ritual where I just go in the bathtub and I let the waters come in and heal me. I activate the waters. I put crystals inside, and I ask the waters to release any toxins, anything in my body that no longer serves. Um, and what happened in that bathtub was amazing. Like, I couldn't cry. I was feeling this like bubble up, and I was trying to cry, like, that one when you're
Yeah.
like trying to cry
Like
but
you
it's
feel
just
it. Yeah. Yeah.
coming out. And then I was like, okay, I guess it's laughter. And I just started cracking up in the
Yeah.
bathtub. Like, and you know what the spirit was saying in my head is like, Adrianna, why you gotta be so serious all the time?
Yeah.
Like, lighten up. You're
I
alive.
love that because I've been there where the body has built up a bubbling sensation and it's unfamiliar, but it feels good. It's a good feeling. You don't know what it is, and something just tells you laugh, and then you kind of chuckle, and then it kind of leads to a real laugh, and then and you start to know where that feeling's coming from. That inkling of a feeling, and it's like, I feel something. What is it? Do I want to laugh? Do I want to cry? But I want to ask you a question. Which one do you think is more contagious? The negative energy or the positive energy? And we're talking about in terms of ability to laugh and ability to cry. We talk about the sadness and the happiness. Which one is more contagious today? Which one is people more often to catch? The sadness or the happiness, or the negative or the positive? Talk about that dynamic.
I think that people are they're living in the past. They're not. So if you're living in the past and based off your traumas, and you have, if you're carrying a story, basically you're going to be more attached to sadness because that story is attached to that, sad part of your life or whatever. So they're chasing happiness,
Yes.
and then comes a point in your life where you just have to stop chasing and attract.
Mm.
And how are you going to attract if you're just crying all the time and trying to heal yourself by releasing with crying?
What do you bring with that attraction though? When you say, "Okay, I'm crying," don't you bring more negative crying type emotions when you are exuding that for manifestation?
If you are shaming yourself for doing that, but if you are grateful for those tears rolling down
Mm-hmm.
and how healing that is, that moment, and you just hold space for yourself instead of like, oh shit, I'm crying, I'm not supposed to cry, I'm not supposed to cry. Just let it happen. Whatever happens needs to happen. I don't try to force it either. But when I say force your laughter sometimes, yeah, that you do have to force, because like our brain is already used to crying. Like that's something you don't need to tell your brain. It does it. But laughter, we're trained that we need to watch a funny movie or watch a comedian to
Right,
laugh.
right. And that was my point. That was my point of the question. Sadness and happiness being contagious, because oftentimes it's harder to laugh than it is to cry, because we have more situations in our lives that are more traumatic, that respond to traumas, than we do the joy and the happiness. So it's almost like, when we think about how we have to force some type of laughter, that's why it stops with, is this actually funny, or am I trying? Am I really trying? And that's the wall that we hit. We hit the wall where we have to question whether or not happiness is something we want. And we're trying to laugh, but if we push past that wall, we'll see that the laughter feels good. A lot of times people think that laughing is corny, laughing is, weird or unwarranted.
It's like a weakness,
It's a
it's
weakness.
yeah,
Yeah.
man, powerful. It's a powerful trick.
So let's segue into psychology. The psychology that you embarked on in college, things that actually had you thinking of the spirit world, and culminating into, reaching your full potential as who you are. Let's jump into the spirit life. Like, what brought you to this community, as far as after realizing, that you have some sort of connection with the spirit world, and the energy healing and the laughter yoga, but what brought you over to the spirit world, where you wanted to start connecting, you wanted to start picking up the cards, the incense, and following what could get you more of a connection to people?
Well, my journey, I could say that I woke up 4 years ago. Um, I was sitting in my room with like everything thrown all over. Like it was just chaos in there, because it was like I would wake up to chaos sometimes. Um, and I was just crying, and she had just thrown my things off, because I started meditating and stuff, and my ex would make fun of me and say that it was silly what I was doing, and I didn't understand what was happening at that time. That I was actually dating a reptilian.
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
I was, because I didn't know, so what was happening is my energy was siphoned for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
3 years it was siphoned. It
That's what they
separated
do. They
me.
suck your energy. The reptilians suck your
it,
energy out.
it literally, like, out of my like all of my family was taken, like everything was pushed away, and I was just by myself, and I was like, oh my god, like I don't know what to do. I was just crying, realizing that spirit didn't have me, because I was just, all my stuff was there on the floor and I wasn't protected. Like, where are you? And I heard this voice loud and clear that said that everything needs to fall before it rise, before you can rise. Everything needs to fall. And I was like, what? Like, what do you mean? Like, who are you? This blue person, like entity, appeared to me with a bunch of hands and the tongue sticking out, and she was just like furious, and I could see like anger in her eyes. I was looking at the mirror, and it was like not me, it was this spirit that I just, like, I could see it clear. And I was like, who are you? And she just had me write Kali. And I was like, I didn't know who Kali was. I'm not a spiritual person. I'm not. I was Catholic. I was raised Catholic, so I didn't know who Kali was. And I looked it up, and it was a goddess, a blue goddess, and she venges, for like, what she basically does is she's a
Fertility god? Is she the
transformation.
fertility god?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, she just basically just comes and just breaks everything down and does rebirth.
Yes,
Like
the destroy
that's
and rebuild.
that
Yes.
destroyer and rebuilder for like when there was wars and stuff, like that was the goddess that would come and just take
Yes.
all the
Boom.
bad people and boom, like she has like heads of men.
Yes. With multiple arms and things like
Yes,
that.
that
Yes.
one.
Yes.
I was so scared, but I was like, okay, okay, you're talking to me, and she was telling me to calm down. She's telling me to breathe. She's telling me what to do. Like I channeled this whole thing. I don't know. I don't have it here, but I write everything. Um, and then basically that is when I just started picking up cards and doing all this because that was the first entity that I ever encountered. But apparently they've all been with me all along, and I had no clue. So it was really funny when I woke up because they were just like, Adrianna, relax, everything is good. We have you. And I was like, in panic, like, but it just in meditation, it's like the only way is going inside. And if you don't meditate, it's something that you need to start doing because when we're talking about a spiritual war, it's like a spiritual war it's in your mind.
Right.
And everything that we're seeing outside right now happening, it's a reflection of our soul and what we haven't been able to look at. And that is what I realized. But anyways, back to my story. I was digressing. I started meditating and stuff like that. I kept meditating. I started to, I started to hear her guide me to different places to go. This laughter yoga teacher, she invited me to this place in Palm Springs called Center for Spiritual Living. And I had never heard of that place before. I walked in like, whatever, I'm going to try it. I don't want to be Catholic anymore. I don't really like and go for what they're, preaching because I know better. I know that the church is inside me, but I'm going to go hear what these people have to say.
Mm-hmm.
They basically, what they said is that church is inside you. We're, we're just here helping you develop that muscle. It's a place where you go and meditate. It's a place where all religions are welcome. It's a place where you are accepted for who you are, and that's it.
Right.
And I found that so beautiful because that's exactly how I felt. And being LGBTQ, it was and Mexican, single mom that had been through domestic violence. There's so many labels that were like, and friends that weren't talking to me because my kids got taken away. Like there's all these things that happened to me that people were shunning me. Like I was being shunned by society for all the wrongdoings that I did. And I was walking around with shame, and I didn't want to like face people because it was just horrible to face people because of what I had done and how bad I got to my life from the choices that I made when I was younger. So I had to go inside and forgive myself. And so when I did that, is when I started to manifest all of these people into my life,
Mm-hmm.
and they embraced me. And now I'm a part of this community that is so amazing. And I'm able to go and share, like I go do laughter yoga classes with them. They're called Wednesday Wisdom Shares. And you can come and you can bring your wisdom because everyone has wisdom inside their DNA, inside locked in. And it has to do usually with what you love to do. And
Right.
I always love to read cards. Like since I was little, well, didn't love to read cards, but I remember I used to do runes. And so they're little, they're made out of, you can make them out of wood or stone. It has to be with a natural thing. And it has little symbols, and each symbol represents something. And you just throw them on the floor. Apparently they used to use them back in the way like where Jesus was born. I don't read the Bible either.
Well,
I just know stuff. And apparently I do it too. So it's stuff that I was born to do because I've done it other lifetimes, and now it's all coming online.
So let's jump into the woman. Let's jump into the LBGTQ community. Since we are here and it is a conversation that has been heightened the last 5 or 10 years or so, let's get into women's liberation and what that looks like for the next 20 years, where we are now, where we've come from in the last 20 years, and how women are so liberated now today to be, to do, um, to live in any kind of capacity that they see fit. Job markets opening up. Equality has been shown to surface and give everybody equal opportunities. What does it look like in your life right now in the landscape of women's liberation and where women can take it, where it's at now, and what you see?
I think that we're going places. I can see stuff happening. I can see, I can see minds waking up and speaking up of what is fair and what is not fair. I can see the rage the that is inside our wombs, like just kind of like starting to rise because we're not gonna take it anymore. The inequalities that's happening right now in the Middle East is no joke. I pray for these women every single day,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, doesn't help to focus on that. But you do have to focus some of your energy on that. So if you're able to every single day just send out a little bit of love to them because they really need it. But I think that we are going places. We're doing things. We're speaking up. Or look at Britney Spears, man. Look at her go, man. There's so many good things that are happening in our life, and I'm very grateful to be a part of it. I'm very grateful to say no to disempowering my body, and because it has to look a certain way, because that's what the media says. Like, I'm done with that. I turned off my TV. I'm not eating that up anymore. And if you are still a woman eating that up, I want you to tell you that it is time to get your power back, girl. Like, just own your power, because you are beautiful just the way you are. Those curves, just how God made you, you're beautiful. Everyone is beautiful. And once you start to see that inside you, then it just starts to flourish out. I can show you pictures of myself, how I've transformed myself just by looking at myself in the mirror and just saying these affirmations and just saying how sexy I am and stuff like that. I know it's silly, but we've been stuck in the brain for so long, for generations. And if we continue to carry that into our system, then we're always going to feel that way.
Right, right.
So it's like we as women have to start doing that inside, doing that inner work. If because I'm a woman that is afraid of women groups.
Mm.
I'm more you would find me more in a group with men having a comfortable conversation than with women.
Oh, okay.
And you know why? It's because it's the women have this thing where we're always in competition with each other. Men don't have that.
That's a perfect segue. Uh,
So,
it's a perfect
I
segue.
don't know.
It's a
Okay.
perfect segue. So here's the hard question.
Yeah.
I gave you the glitz and glamour of the first question, right?
Yeah.
So the hard question now is accountability for both sides, men and women. And this accountability question goes to the liberation, right? We talk liberation, we talk appearance, we talk, shaming, we talk even working class type of situations where women can feel more empowered. But the hard question is, how are women addressing the things that are truly hurting the women's community, which would be pedophilia, um, trafficking, um, also single motherhood, some of the things that give a negative perception with the liberation. And the biggest thing is the thing that you spoke about is the things that are happening in other countries, the Middle East, China, the real tragedies of what other women outside of the popularized American ideals. There are people in other countries that truly face atrocities from the size of the woman. How are women prepared to face these type of issues that are truly traumatizing the women in the world compared to the smaller things like the appearance, the emotional status, some of the things that the American women use or push out as issues compared to the real issues or the bigger issues abroad. What are your thoughts on those type of scenarios compared to the ones that are popularized and more promoted in media compared to the things that you spoke about in the Middle East?
I think that people think that they can cover the sun with a finger. The sun is shining bright,
Mm,
and I can see that women are starting to realize this, but it's like something that is so desensitized. Like we don't want to see it. We don't want to know that it's there. It's something that you don't talk about. It's something that probably possibly maybe happened to you, but you don't want to talk about it, right? Because how embarrassing is that it happened to you? So as long as we continue to hide from our shadows, we will not be ready for this. But if we are courageous, we hop on that dragon, because we all have a dragon. I believe we do. And this dragon is gonna gobble up all of those negative energies that you're gonna release from your body when you're courageous enough to confront them, when you're courageous enough to face your shadows of why you don't want to talk about pedophilia, of why you don't want to talk about that women getting raped, of
yes.
why you don't want to talk about, like, why are we not talking about this?
Yes.
Why? Because it has happened to us, maybe not this lifetime, but another lifetime. And if you're being reactive towards those things, you should look at yourself inside and find out why it is that you're being reactive to that. Because if we're continue to be reactive, we're not going to be able to be, to confront these problems, those issues, or have them dissolve.
Well, here's the question. Why is it that women respond to the fat shaming and the appearance shaming and are so vocal about those topics and not vocal about things that could have happened to them? I have family members who unfortunately raised these issues to me after the fact, years later, that things have happened to them and don't want to tell us who it was, don't want to, address the actual situation. And as someone who loves them and knows them, I can't do anything about it. I can't heal it. I can't even, approach that person. But it's one of them situations where you say, you don't want to talk about pedophilia. You don't want to talk about trafficking. We don't want to talk about rape. We do want to talk about how fat I am. We do want to talk
I
about, how, we talk about as far as the women, like they don't want to talk about the hard things. They do want to talk about the easy things. How do we transition from that? How do we transition into having the tough conversation, but not just having the conversation anymore? These women are over here being raped, being targeted. They don't want to hear conversations. They want to be saved.
Mhm.
That needs action. So
Mhm.
if women are going out here protesting women's rights, so on and so forth, abortion, having the ability to do what they want with their bodies, why is that same energy not being used to actually go and do actionable items for women who are actually being traumatized?
Because in order, we have, okay, so fat is stored energy. Our bodies store that energy, because when we go in trauma, like, then what do we do when something happens? We start eating, like, or we'll start eating food or whatever. Well, the people that are trying to lose weight, I'm specifically talking
Right.
about them. So you start eating, and so what your body does, because it's in shock, it just starts to store all of that. When we start to sit with ourselves and work with those internal problems, that is easier to dissolve, because you can be doing all the workout in the world that you want, but you're going to continue in that cycle if you don't sit down and work with yourself. And
Mm.
once you sit down and work with yourself, and because so yeah, so yes, we do have to worry about the entire world, but you have to put on your mask first.
Yes.
So these people that are doing that and that are not able to get to that level of, speaking up about women that are getting raped and all this, is because they need to first work on themselves, and they need to heal whatever it is that's bothering them, so that they are able to go out and speak for other people. So where they're at, I think that is beautiful, but they need to now realize that the work starts inside.
I love it because what you just identified is okay. We have momentum, we have progress, but for us to actually make change, we need to go into these actionable items and first reflect on changing us. So I really like that because everyone can join the conversation without actually doing the self reflective work. And I think that's what everyone's done. They've joined the conversation because it's beneficial to talk about it. But when you want to be about it, you have to now go into yourself and change the things that you see reflecting that are all, the things that you don't like. And that's usually what happens is people see they have an opinion or a perspective and they don't like it, but they haven't done the internal um, justice on their own self to even make it real. Your opinion's not real because you haven't done your own work. And so if the women out there who are having conversations about oppression, so on and so forth, and they're doing it for the sake of conversation, when it's time to do something about it, these are going to be the people waiting for things to get done. They're not going to be the actual people that are making the change. And I think those are where we need the real strong women, the real strong women who really want to make change, who not just say they're about it, who are going to do it, who going to stand in the front. And I think that that's what these movements need is less talk, more action. If there was a situation in Afghanistan, in Israel, where these women were really being traumatized, there should be a women's coalition that flies over there and speaks for and shows that support as if it was a U.S. embassy or some type of union that could answer for the atrocities that happen all over the world for women. But that step is going to have to be taken by the women collectively. It can't be one person that says, I want to stand in front, I want to be no Kamala Harris type situation. It has to be collectively groups of women that feel that they can actually make change, not just having conversation and debates, but showing power. Because if you want to stand in a man's role, you got to do what men do. We go to war.
And it is, and though it is beautiful because it's happening, I can see women rising. Like I can see women rising, building community,
Mm-hmm.
showing other women about these gifts. Like that's my next step. I've been called to start a circle here in Palm Springs, and I'm gonna do it. I've already met some people and just women that just because doing that and starting to build that community. They've separated us so much, the media, with all of their like buy this, buy that, like be the prettiest one if you wear this
Mm-hmm.
lipstick and like this, so it's like this competition that we have with each other
Yep.
because they know that we are powerful together. Like we're powerful on our own.
Yep.
We are a vortex of light. We're a portal. Women are a portal. We carry life inside of us. Like
Yep.
that's how powerful we are. And if we join forces, whoa, like like when a flock of women come together. So that's what I am trying to learn to do. It's like get those walls to come down, get
Yes.
that programming inside myself, because I was a teenager that that struggled with bulimia, because I read that 17 magazine that told me that I had to look a certain way. you know don't do that to your kids.
No.
Don't let them read those things, man, because
No.
that is programming in a book.
So
you
so
know?
so you know what we're going against when we're talking about even from the start of our conversation, the laughter, yoga, energy healing, all the things that can distract us from the things that can be wholesome to us. Media has not only separated us, but told us those things aren't wholesome for us. Those things aren't good for the spirit, the soul, and all of those other aspects. And it just speaks volume that you understand that, and that people, not only women, but kids and men and veterans and seniors, we all need, this perspective to understand that, crossing the finish line is important and how we get there is important.
We
But
get there
also
together. We get there together.
together to
Together. There's no like
united.
I am better. You are like we're all the one.
Yes. And
Woo!
as
I'm getting
separate as we
excited.
are,
Woo!
yeah, and
We're all the one.
as separate as we are right now, I think the commonality for us to move forward is to continue to try to have these united conversations. Now, we just spoke on too much conversation means less action. But when we're beginning to unite, we have to have the tough conversations. The elephant in the room right now is masculine toxicity, and you're too man and you're too much. You gotta let the girl do stuff, and that's a perspective of propaganda being programmed
Mhm.
towards the female, thinking that we want that, we want to be in control. We want to. It's not about toxic we love the woman more than the woman loves herself.
That's the game. That's the game. That is the game for us.
We love you guys so much that it's hard for us to even give you the love that we give, because you've been taught not to want that love. You've been taught to want a specific love from a man that has been programmed. But oftentimes there's talk of when men give you their love, is specific, it's exclusive, it has its own signature, DNA signature for you specifically. And so when a man can do that and not have, that, oh, you did it like this, I like it like this, it's like, look, this is me, allow me to give you me, and let's move forward. Let's not separate because I'm man, you're a woman. We have to do it like this, and that, I think that's the openness of the LBGT community, and all these other aspects of growth aren't necessarily separation. It's evolution. We have evolved from a concept that society pushed us into, that it has to be one or the other, and you have to act and walk like this and do. We've evolved beyond that now, and we can't go backwards and continue to try to use our memory of how things were, and trick ourselves
I think
to
it's like
believe.
a dance. It's like a dance we
Yeah,
do. It's a
yeah.
dance. It's a dance that you have to learn how to do. We all have the masculine and a feminine energy inside. So if you're experiencing, that masculine toxicity, which I really don't think but some male, they tend to have more masculine energy than feminine energy, and everyone inside has to learn how to balance both energies inside, because you know the feminine energy allows you to be more creative, it allows you to be more compassionate, it allows you to sit down and listen to others. as
Yes.
a man as a man that's so important to do, to listen. If you're lacking in your listening skills, then you need to work on balancing your female energy.
But that's exactly what it is. Listening and being vulnerable is feminine.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else on the opposite side is masculine. Feminine is taking the moment to listen, learn, and lead, nurture, and cherish. That's all feminine. It's not being soft. It's not being a punk. It's not being all that other stuff that guys believe. It's really literally just taking the time to breathe, meditate, and listen. That's feminine energy.
And we can all cultivate that. You don't have to be a female to do that, and you're no less of a man for doing so.
Nope.
You know, so that's something that we are starting to show, because we're walking our talk.
Right.
So you, my man, right there, are doing an amazing job, because that's what we're supposed to do. Like this is all coming together because we had to go through it first,
Mm-hmm.
transition, so that we're able to show the way on how it's supposed to be. But we can't do it if we don't start doing it.
Oh man, that's
We
beautiful.
practice it.
So let's segue to the finale. We're gonna close out here, and I just gotta tell my listeners again, man, that this is powerful stuff. You know, Adrianna is one of the most powerful spirit guides out there, the soul whisperer, and she has an abundance amount of testimony. But we're gonna get into what we do here at the podcast. Is gonna give you 3 words, and I want you to basically tell me the first thing come to mind after each word. So I'll give you one at a time, and it's just basically what you feel resonates through you when you hear this word, and anything that you can basically tell the audience as far as what you feel this word means. All right. So the 3 words. First word: transition. What does it mean to you?
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful and welcoming experience that I'm still processing, but I'm so grateful that I get to be a part of, this new beginning. It's just a beautiful experience for me. I'm just so honored.
Okay. So let's go to the second one. So the first one was the beauty.
Ah, ha.
So the first one was the beauty for you. The
Mhm.
second one is the second word is transformation.
Butterfly, because we're metamorphosizing. We have developed into beautiful butterflies, and it's so amazing. Like, just start using your wings. You got them.
Mm.
You got them. People don't realize, but you got those wings already. Use them.
Oh, that's amazing. And also, we talk about the butterflies and the metamorphosis under the transformation. So that's perfect. That lets me know that my guests are definitely aligned. So the third one, transcendence.
Power, power, because we all have that inside. We have the power. Within us lies the power of the universe. Doesn't matter if you want to, what you're going to do with it. Have choices in life, and those choices, so the power.
Amazing. So we have beautiful butterfly with power. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. And we get it every week. We have special guests with special powers that give us special messaging. And that is to listen, learn, and lead. And at every aspect and every turn of our lives, we have to understand that the transition, the transformation, and the transcendence is priority. It is number one, and we can't do none of those things without taking the first step into the transition. And I want to thank Miss Adrianna Rubio, Audrey, the Soul Whisperer,
I
the laughter yoga
want to give you
teacher.
a card. Can I give you a card?
Absolutely.
I want to see. Ooh, okay, this one. Yeah, time to create.
Oh man, she just pulled a card
Queen,
for
queen,
me.
queen.
She just pulled a card for me, and it says create. And that's what I
Exploration, expression, and exploration. You're on the right path.
ooh wee. And that's what we're doing right now, ladies and gentlemen. We're creating. We're creating possibilities for people to share their stories and testimonies, like Miss Audrey here. And she is the first of many powerful females that are going to break into the mold, into the marketplace, and to show you all what the real source power and the source love really exudes, really embodies. And I want to thank her again for taking the time to join us again here at the Transition Podcast, Man to God. I am your host, Mr. Rashad McCants, and Audrey, tell us where they can find you. People want to get readings. People want to have conversations. People just want to follow you. Where can they find you? How can they reach you? And let them know.
Yeah, you guys can check me out on Instagram. I have Audrey Girl underscore 13. And then yeah, my other one is Audrey the Soul Whisperer. That's where you get the readings. Audrey Girl, I do Wednesdays, Wacky Wednesdays. So if you just random time want to laugh with me, tap into my Joy Vortex. Wednesday, that's the day.
Sounds good to me. Hey,
Yeah.
again, follow
Thank you
her
so
on
much for having
Instagram.
me. So
Oh,
grateful.
man, this is all my pleasure. Follow her on Instagram. Everybody reach out. If you can't reach her, reach me. I'll reach her and we'll reach you together. Regardless of anything, I'd like to thank you for your time. And you are here with the one and only. It was written, Mr. Rashad McCants. Thank you again, Audrey. And we are out.
Thank you. Thank you.